Tim Storey. Good to see you guys. All right, so they say it never rains in Southern California. I'm here to tell you it is raining in Southern California. But it is nice sometimes when it rains. It just makes things very fresh. And it also puts snow in the mountains. What a lot of people do not realize is that we actually get snow in our mountains. And Joseph's helping me. Is that the right request, sir? Okay. So we're going to bring on a guest here in a second. But when we get the snow in the mountains, it's actually super, super nice. But I was saying that some people don't realize that, we've got the beach right down the street. And then you have Palm Springs, which is not too far away. And then you have Arrowhead and Big Bear. Right, Joseph?
Yep.
And it all makes it nice. So today, I'm excited about interviewing Jamie Kern Lima. And she has written a new book called Believe It. About that because she's really, really smart and doing some amazing things. And so Jamie's going to come on. Look at you.
Look at you. Hello. Hello.
Just so you know, I'm a fan of yours. I saw you on Lewis Howe's podcast, and I said, I like her. Because you've got a great story.
Thank you. I don't know if you know this. Do you know that you're in Believe It?
Tell me about this. I don't know that.
I don't know if you've seen that page yet. So I thought for our live, I would pull it out. So page 143 of Believe It starts out with this. You are a mighty person in the making, a masterpiece in progress, a miracle in motion. Tim Storey.
Hey.
Tim Storey. That's right.
I made it.
You made it. Yep.
So number one, you look great. I'm loving your hair.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Going straight today. Going the straight vibe.
Very straight.
Congratulations to you as well on your book launch this week as well. You got 2 books, 1 IG Live.
Yeah. But I want to talk about yours right now. So Jamie Kern Lima, all right? Believe It, right? How to go from underestimated to unstoppable. So, I love to interview people. I like to research people, but I also want to just go into your story and some wonderful things that are happening with you. So at one time you were a waitress. Let's talk about that. What was it like to be a waitress?
Yeah, it's so funny. I was a waitress at Denny's and actually love my job. But it's funny how the places we go and the seeds that get planted along the way, right? And the stories kind of stack on top of each other. All of our steps, I think, in life stack on top of each other. And it's funny, Tim, I remember when I was a waitress at Denny's, I did not know I'd one day be an entrepreneur. I didn't know I'd one day start a company. But when I was waitressing at Denny's and I look back, it's funny because we had a Denny's, it was in Pullman, Washington, and there's always these problems with the kitchen. They can never get pancakes out in time. So I was waitressing, having people leave their tables. I get no tip, right? And I went through this experience and I'm like, huh. And I know now it was waitressing tables at Denny's where it was planting seeds in me oh, you better get operations right if you're ever going to run a business. Or your customers are not going to be happy, right? All those kind of things. And so I just think it's, I always look back at all the experiences we go through. Even
of course. So the reason I start there is because I think some things in life we decide and some things in life we discover. And I feel like a lot of people, mostly nowadays, they want to go from the idea and the dream, the aspiration, and then they think they're just going to get here real fast. And then they're going to maybe look to you or look to me, and they want us to call people that we know and to just put them there. But sometimes you got to work at Denny's. And for me, I was a dishwasher, then a busboy, then a waiter. And it's like a step-by-step process. And so you know, you end up going on in life and having this amazing business, which is entitled officially what? What was the name of the business?
Yeah, It Cosmetics. It
Yes.
Cosmetics. Yeah, started it in my living room. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do this business, and then you sell it to a very large company, right?
Mm-hmm.
L'Oreal.
Yep, sold it to L'Oreal. Yeah, it was our largest U.S. acquisition to date. Yeah.
Okay, so I find that kind of interesting because I know Pullman, Washington, right? So it's not like you were like in the middle of Beverly Hills,
Yeah.
hanging out with fancy friends.
Right.
There was a time in your life where you were just like plowing the ground, planting the seed, watering the seed, and then you begin to reap the harvest. So let's go to the harvest first. Then I'm going to go back and talk to you about how you got there. So your company starts to take off, and it went to these dimensions that were kind of like mind-boggling, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, what does that feel like?
Yeah, it feels wild. You know, I remember the days waitressing at Denny's. I always kind of felt like I had this feeling. Actually, back it up even more. I remember being a little girl sitting in my living room watching Oprah every single day, like every single day. And I remember this moment, Tim, you might remember this. Barbara Walters did an interview with her and asked her kind of a similar question. And Oprah said live, she said, I always knew I was destined for greatness. And I remember I was a 9-year-old little girl hearing Oprah say that. And I was like, I know that feeling. I know that feeling. And then I don't know if you remember this, right? She got a lot of opposition in the press. I think the press was like not used to hearing someone, especially a woman, say something so bold. But I remember having that feeling, like I get that feeling. So, you know, even fast forward when I'm waitressing at Denny's, I always knew inside, like I have something more to give or to serve. Or to create. I kind of always had that feeling, but I really struggle with a lot of self-doubt. I think a lot of us know we have that feeling, but then we kind of like doubt it anyways.
Yes.
And a big part of my journey, like a lot of people think my story is, going from waitress to billion-dollar entrepreneur, but my real story is, you know, going from a girl who didn't believe in herself to learning how to believe in herself and how to hear my own internal knowing and then make that decision to trust it. And that's the real story.
I like
behind
it.
the
So
story.
before we dive right into the book, I mean, you've been on Good Morning America, Today's Show, CBS This Morning, Oprah Magazine, CNN, Cosmopolitan, Fast Company, Forbes, Nightline, on and on and on and on and on.
Tim Storey Live.
Live. So what is it like? Like, you know, it's one thing to dream the dream. It's another thing for the dream to come true. Like, what is it like for your dreams to actually be happening? Because they're unfolding. It's not like you're there yet. You're still unfolding. But what is it like? You know, for all the people watching, what is it like?
Yeah, I think when we have a dream or a goal that's bigger than ourselves and we're all in on it, it feels really fulfilling. I think when it's dreams that are more for ourselves, we're left feeling like, oh, that's it. Like, yes. Oh, I thought I was going to be happy, or, oh, I thought I was going to solve all my problems. And that's it. And I think that maybe a lot of us have had both experiences in life, right? So, you know, I really believe that, you know, when I started the company in my living room, you know, I did so many things wrong, Tim, and I talk about a lot of those in Believe It. But one of the things that I did right was I really knew why I was doing what I was doing, and not from a way of like, oh, what's your why, which is such a buzzword, but really deeper, like peeling back the layers, like the why beneath the why. Like I knew at the time when I created It Cosmetics, you know, I have a skin condition called rosacea. So it's bright red, bumpy, my cheeks feel like sandpaper often. And, you know, I was working in what I thought was my dream job. I was working in television news because, you know, I grew up watching Oprah and I was like, I'm going to spend my life sharing other people's stories. So I started this interview. I really just want to ask you about you. If you want to know the truth, I just want to hear your story about your book right now. That's like what's in me. So I thought, you know, I was going to do that my whole life. And I was working in what I thought was my dream job, and I was anchoring the news, and I started getting a skin condition, and I'd be live on television, and I'd hear in my earpiece from the producers, there's something on your face, there's something on your face, you need to wipe it off. And I'd be live, and I knew there was nothing I could wipe off. I knew it was the makeup was breaking up under the hot HD lights. And I just kind of got this feeling, like it started with a feeling, and then it grew bigger and bigger, this intuition of, if I could figure out how to create a product that worked, it'd probably help a lot of other people. But I also knew I was what I thought was in my dream job. And I had this big realization that sometimes knowing when to let go of a dream is also as important as knowing when to go after one. Because I think so many times you just hear people over and over just say, like, don't quit, whatever you do, just don't give up. And I don't think that's the victory. I think the victory is hearing yourself and then trusting yourself on, is this where you're supposed to be? Or are you supposed to give up on one dream or one relationship or one whatever, and trust yourself to grow into the next one? So, I did a lot of things wrong, but one of the things I did right was I trusted that and made that decision to launch the business in my living room. I didn't know I would then spend 3 years being told no from everyone, and not be able to pay myself for 3 years and all those things. But I think our life so many times comes down to like, are we going to trust ourselves? Are we going to hear ourselves and trust ourselves? Or are we going to listen to our own self-doubt, everyone else's opinions, our lack of success around us, and like stay in our comfort zone and talk ourselves out of our own truth? I feel like that's what our life pretty much comes down to in terms of
people
the
are
victories.
loving you, just so you know. You're getting like nonstop emojis. If you love what you're saying, just keep bringing those emojis. So I want to just ask you a question. So you then sell to L'Oreal. I'm reading my facts here.
Yeah.
But I want you to say the number you sold it for. You sell your company to L'Oreal for how much?
Yeah, so L'Oreal, which is a public company, decided to disclose the purchase price. And I learned this the night before it happened. So in 2016, they bought It Cosmetics for $1.2 billion, all cash. Made me the first woman to hold a CEO title of a brand in their 100+ year history. And then it was wild. It was an amazing journey in life, because I'm used to, like I went through all the phases, right? The phase of being in my living room with no money, the phase of building and scaling, not being able to hire anybody, not being able to afford to hire anybody, eventually building a team of over 1,000 employees. And then getting acquired was a whole new world, because I felt like, I don't know if you've ever seen that movie Devil Wears Prada, where Anne Hathaway walks in and she's like, that's how I felt the first time walking into the L'Oreal headquarters. I'm like, this isn't how I was raised. You know what I mean? It's like walking in, like, where am I? So.
Yeah, I'm loving all this, and then you become like a queen of QVC. Like you've had so many appearances on QVC. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was a journey. So and thanks for asking that. I think it's interesting, Tim, that a lot of people like know now. Or they'll Google the story and. It Cosmetics is the largest beauty brand now in QVC's history. But the journey of getting there, right? Like you talk a lot about the seeds, the tilling of the soil, all that stuff. And it was 3 years of them saying no, and you're not the right fit for us or for our customers. And, I just kept having this feeling like, and I pray a lot. And I just feel like God kept saying to me, like, you're going to be on QVC. And I feel like, so many people don't listen to that knowing. Yeah. And they get told no, and then they think their gut was wrong, right? And it was 3 years of them saying no. And I would send my product and I would get a meeting and all the things, and it was always a no. And then it came down to one big yes. We finally got a yes, and I got one spot for 10 minutes, and it was live on QVC, a 10-minute spot. And there was outside consultants that advised me to like use models of flawless skin, because that's all that had ever worked before. Yes. And I flew out to QVC knowing, and Tim, we were only selling 2 to 3 orders a day on our website. We were down to close to no money. And I knew to do this one shot on QVC, we had to sell over 6,000 units in a 10-minute window to hit their sales goal. And it was kind of like, everything was on the line at the time. And So I have experts telling me to kind of like change the authenticity of why I'm doing what I'm doing, if I have any shot at making it. And the third party experts, they help a lot of people. They're amazing. But like, and sometimes experts only can see things, imagine things succeeding if they've already happened before, or if they've already been done before, right? And I think that, you know, opening this IG live with your quote on how, you know, let me just read it one more time, because it reminds me of this moment, or maybe I closed the page on it. But you know, you saying like you're a mighty, you know, will you say
You're
one
a
more time?
miracle in the you're
Miracle
a
in
mighty
motion.
miracle in the making, in motion.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
And so
yes.
really, and to me, even back when you were in Washington, is that's what was happening. You were a mighty miracle in motion and in the making.
Yeah.
And as you said earlier, that you just had to unfold. So let's get right into the book. So I'm talking to Jamie Kern Lima, for those that are coming on late. She is awesome. What an amazing woman, really into humanitarian work. We'll get into that in a minute. But I like this title, Believe It. So, you know, when you're writing a book, you always think of many titles. Don't give me all the thoughts you had. But how did you come up with Believe It?
Yeah, I had a bunch of titles, that's for sure. You know, starting at cosmetics, when I really look back at everything, yes, definitely worked hard, definitely got back up every time I got knocked down. But when people say like, how did you start with close to no money, build $1 billion company from your living room? Like, I really think the single biggest thing I did was made the decision to believe that I could.
Yes.
And I feel like that's what holds people back, right? Why I wrote this book is for anyone struggling with self-doubt who wants to learn to overcome it, and pull tools from me or quotes from you, or all the things that are in this book. Because I don't believe that, you know, the through line of all the people that end up accomplishing their biggest dreams, I don't believe it's how many connections they had, or how smart they were, or how any of those things. I think self-doubt kills more dreams than almost anything. And so, you know, calling it Believe It, I think that, you know, how to go from underestimated to unstoppable, I believe we all can do that.
Yes.
I believe your quote, your quote again, everyone watching us live right now, Tim, I believe this is true of you, of me, of every person watching us, sharing this space with us live right now, or watching it on the replay. I think all of us are a mighty masterpiece in the making, and a miracle in motion. And like, step one is to believe it. You know what I mean? And so that's
okay. I want to
really...
ask you a question, because I like this, how you say this, how to go from underestimated. When you say underestimated, break that down for me. Did you feel underestimated? Did you live underestimated? So break that word down for me.
Yeah, I think underestimated can be from other people, and underestimated can be like we're the ones underestimating ourselves. And I think more times than not, it's us underestimating ourselves. Also, honestly, as a person who puts goodness out into the world, sometimes, you know, I'm introverted in real life, right? I am the person in the party who is quiet and listening. And for all the introverts out there, sometimes when that's you, or when you tend to lean that way, you get underestimated a lot. I also think that, you know, being underestimated can be a superpower. Like, for a very long time, launching my business, everyone kind of wrote us off as not like a player in the space, right? We were under the radar, and they didn't see us coming. And so sometimes being underestimated can be a superpower. But I think the times when it's not, and why I talk about how to go from underestimated to unstoppable, is I do think we can all become unstoppable in our joy and our faith and our belief in ourselves. And I really talk about in the whole book, like going through self-doubt and body doubt and God doubt, and how I sort of like went through those journeys, and the things, the tools that I pulled from to overcome them, to eventually like be able to look people in the eye who tell me I'm not enough and tell me no again, and have it not make me want to quit. You know what I mean? I talk about all of that. So
no, that's
and, you know,
very, very powerful. And I like this. I like the word unstoppable. because it's a knowing
Mm-hmm.
that even when you face that resistance, something happened in your mindset and in your spirit that you just knew you were going to get through, right?
Yeah.
You just kept prevailing. So can you tell us right now, we're going to keep going for a minute, but how can people get the book?
Yeah, of course. So you can grab Believe It anywhere books are sold, independent bookstores, Target, Barnes and Noble, Audible, Amazon, everywhere books are sold. And also, you know, I wrote a 95-page action plan on how to implement all the lessons from the book into your real life. And I want to do it for free because I just think, you know, oftentimes there's books and you read them and then you're like, okay, but how do I, like, what do I do in my life? Like, how do I implement those lessons? And so I wrote that for free. So that's on BelieveIt.com also for anyone who wants to grab it. But yeah, you can get it anywhere books are sold. And I don't know if I shared this with you. I'm donating 100% of the proceeds to go to Feeding America and Together Rising. I think, you know, this for me.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, this for me, honestly, is just something that I feel like every one of us has a story, and like when we share them together, I just feel like we all rise higher. We can pull nuggets from you. I've heard you speak before. I've been in the audience, having never met you, heard you speak before, and was able to take like little nuggets that I can lean on when I need to feel stronger, right?
Yes.
Like literally one of them ended up in my book because it impacted me. And part of why I want to share all the stuff that I went through and all the mistakes I made, all the things I learned all the things I wish I had known, and it would have saved me a whole lot of self-doubt, a whole lot of crying myself to sleep at night. Like, I want to share all those because I think that, you know, that's truly when we know what we're doing matters and is bigger than ourselves and is in service to other people. So
I love this. So I want to challenge everybody to buy this book, but some of you need to buy it for someone else to like help someone else get a life lift. And then some of you need to buy them for your company. Let's say if you have 50 employees, 100 employees, 1,000 employees, get this book for your employees. Buy them in bulk and mass, because the proceeds of the sales of the book are going to lift other people's lives and to change people's lives. And that's one reason you're so blessed, because you realize that you are blessed to be a blessing. And God looks for people like that and gives you divine assignments. He's given you a divine assignment to show up in this space, and not only to lift up people through this book, Believe It, but also then to bless people and change people's lives. And there's nothing like it, right? Like to be used by God to do things like this.
That's my prayer every single day. God, use me. Love, use me. Literally every single day. So even while I was writing the book, you know, it was like, give me the words that someone else needs to hear right now who pitched this up.
Okay, so we're talking about the book, Believe It. Can I ask you 2 more questions?
Of course.
Okay, 2 more questions, and then she's going to go from one thing to the next. A woman that's this fancy, believe me, there's something next. All right, now, could you share a story that highlights the presence of miracles or a remarkable story in your life where you were in a place where it seemed like your back was up against the wall, and you needed some type of divine intervention? You needed something miraculous. You know, miracle is something uncommon, not normal. Can you tell a story of something like that?
Yeah. Oh, I have so many. From even just the birth of my daughter to like all of the things. Because that was a 10-year journey of setbacks and all those things. But one thing that comes to mind right now is the miracle of hearing our truth in our gut. And this is what I mean by that. We were a couple of years into our business and hearing so many no's, and we got a call from a potential investor, a private equity company. And I was so excited, Tim, because they are really big and have invested in a ton of products we all buy in the grocery stores, and they made them household names, and they loved our product. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be life-changing. Like, if they invest in our company, I'm not going to go bankrupt, and maybe they can help use their leverage to get us in all these retailers that are telling me no for years. So we started taking meetings with them. I did meeting after meeting after meeting. And I was like, this is good, amazing. This is going to be huge. And it got down to the final meeting. And my husband and I flew up for this meeting, and I was standing about 3 feet from the head guy. And he says to me, you know, we're really proud of you. Congratulations. We think your product's great, but it's a no. We're going to pass on investing in It Cosmetics. And I said, okay, can you tell me why? Because, you know, usually feedback is a gift. I'd gotten hundreds of no's at that point. And he says, do you want me to be really honest with you? And I said, yes, please. And he was 3 feet from me in person. And he said, I just don't think women will buy makeup from someone who looks like you with your body and your weight. And I remember in this moment, so 2 things happened. Well, I went and cried in my car after that. But when he said it, I felt like a lifetime of body doubt, like fill my body, and felt like I was staring my own fear straight in the eye. But in that moment, Tim, I didn't feel anything ill toward him, no anger, nothing. I realized, oh, he's just as much impacted by a lifetime of how the beauty industry has always been done in the past as everyone else. He's passing on investing in my company because he thinks I won't make him money if I don't look a certain way. So that fueled my why. But when he said those words to me, and for me, this was a miracle. And I think we have to be open to these. We have to be open to these. When he said some of the most hurtful words, right? I just don't think women will buy makeup from someone who looks like you with your body and your weight. I remember this moment deep in my gut, like it was yesterday. I had this feeling deep down inside that said, he's wrong. Like, he's wrong. I felt it. And over the years, 6 years would pass before I'd hear from him again. And those 6 years, when his words would enter my head again, I would literally lean on the miracle of that moment where I felt it. I would turn the volume down on his words and reject that from entering my spirit. And I would turn up the volume on that own knowing, that moment where I knew he was wrong. And 6 years later, when we were acquired by L'Oreal, and it was all over the press, I heard from him for the first time in 6 years. And he said, congratulations, so happy for you. I was wrong. And I learned it would have been the most successful investment in this firm's history. But the other thing that's a miracle, the second part is just, you know, there's those famous words, rejection is God's protection. And I mean, had he believed in me earlier, I had no money. I didn't know what I was going to do. I probably would have sold the majority of the company for like nothing. But because he didn't believe in me, like 6 years later, we were still the largest shareholders and we sold to L'Oreal. And so it was like, rejection is God's protection. Even when we're in the midst of it, it doesn't feel fair and it doesn't make sense. I keep that belief because I've seen a miracle like that one show up so many times.
Okay. I love that answer. Okay. So Jamie Kern Lima, the book is Believe It, How to Go from Underestimated to Unstoppable. My last question of this. Okay. Can dreams still come true? You were a little girl one time. You were in the 1st and 2nd grade, dreaming of things. At that point, what were you thinking of being 2nd, 3rd grade? A ballerina, an actor, a police officer? What did you think of becoming when you were that little?
I think dreams still can come true. I think we all can have multiple dreams that keep showing up in our lives. You know, at that age, I was watching our friend Oprah, and I was like, I want to share other people's stories, and you know, but I believe all of us, I believe all of us can dream, and I think we're all coming out of this 14 months of really tough season for a lot of people, and I think a lot of people have had to be parents and homeschool teachers, and they didn't want to be, and all these things, and you know, a lot of people have been dimming their light, and you know, I am. You know, it's kind of serendipitous in the sense of the timing of my book, because I really feel like this book is about how do you ignite your light again. And
it's perfect.
Yeah, perfect, and like dream in the possibility of your own dreams again. You know what I mean? And I think we all need that right now more than ever. So.
And what a great book cover. You see that right over her shoulder there. So Jamie Kern Lima, Believe It. And thank you for dialoguing with me. And so I can't wait to like see you in person. We've been in the same space, it sounds like, but we've never really like dialogued Like,
yeah, I've just watched you crush it on stage and have whole audiences crying and all that. But yeah, no, we've never had coffee, so let's do that sometime. That would be fun.
I want to do that. And do you guys have children?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we have two little ones. So we have a 2.5-year-old. We tried for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And so many crazy stories. I found out by surprise I was adopted, and then we started the adoption process and the surrogacy process, and long journey. But we have a 2.5-year-old named Wonder, our daughter named Wonder, and then my son is 10 months old named Wilder. So yeah, I got two little ones.
I love those names. Okay, tell your
you.
husband I said hello.
I will.
And I want to go hang out with you guys. I just love your spirit, what you're about. Again, when I saw you on Lou's house, I was very drawn to your story. So what a privilege to talk about your book. And we will post something on our Insta story about you and about your book. And I want a lot of people to buy this book. But again, don't just buy it for yourself. Buy it for someone else and give them a life lift. And also for some of you business people that follow us, buy them in bulk for your team. And let's get the word out there. Believe it, because dreams still come true. So thanks for taking time with me today. I really mean that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
We'll see you soon.
Okay, see you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.